Let's do it. We've been going through a series of questions, and as we're playing the game of what to do, act or react, how. But before we go into that, I always like to give a summary on the prime verse we've always been focusing on, and that has to do with 1 John 4:18, that talks about there is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear. Because fear has to do with punishment, and the one who fears is not made perfect in love. We discussed about this fear. What does it mean to have fear? And what is this fear? And this fear is a tool. It's a gift, matter of fact. It's a tool that was gifted to human beings as a tool to help us understand our minds. It was like an alarm system. Fear is an alarm system. It's not negative. Nothing God has ever created is bad. Matter of fact, all things are good. And fear is one of those things where fear is telling you that at that very point of moment, there is a thought that originated from the outside that is bottling or affecting your mind. And so fear is telling you, yo, watch out, because you are no longer in a state of love. You are no longer in a state of rest. You are no longer in a state of peace. You are now in fear because there's an external thought affecting your mind. So it's a way of you understanding that your mind is under attack. And it's not for condemnation, it's not for judgment, but it's for us to realize that we are under attack. And when you realize you're under attack, then you need to go and clean up. See, a lot of people try to fight the fear, but you don't need to fight the fear. You need to fight the source of the fear, the force behind the fear. That's the problem. The fear itself is just letting you know that at that very moment, you are under attack. But there is other components that are affecting that very fear. And so what happens is, fear is a result of an external thought that is affecting your mind. And I always say, if you want to truly understand that, you have to understand things like insecurity, which insecurity means that you believe you don't have the power within to affect or impact or change your external world. And this makes you the subject of the playground of life. This gets you in a state where you're no longer living, you're not just existing, you're no longer acting, and you're no longer you're just reacting. And so people's whole life, and that's the sad bit about it, is because most of us, our whole entire life, we've actually never lived our own lives. Our life is a compilation of reactions. It is a compilation of things that we think are actions, but God doesn't consider it as action, and they are not actions. Why? Because it is things that you do because of an experience, things that you do because somebody looked at you a certain way, things that you do because somebody thought of you a certain way, things that you do because you don't think you belong in a certain place, because you don't think you have the ability to overcome a certain thing. So we are now living a compilation of reaction. And so our whole entire life, we've gone through it just reacting and reacting and reacting to different components. And that's the sad bit about it, is that you get to the end of your life, and if you look around and you ask yourself, how much of this life have I actually lived? That's a very depressing question to ask, because the answer will be very depressing for most of us. We haven't lived very much of our own lives. We've reacted to what happened in our childhood, what happened with our friends, what happened with the family. We've just reacted to that. What happened in job application? What happened when somebody don't like you? What happened to the society you couldn't fit in? And these compilations of reaction has assembled what somebody now calls my life. And so many people in front of you, they will tell you they're proud of their life, but when they are away by themselves, they know they haven't lived the life they should have lived. Why? Because your consciousness does not lie. It will tell you that your life isn't where it's supposed to be. And so the solution we found was love. And not any kind of love, it was perfect love. And we discussed about this state of perfect love. Cody, do you remember what we said about perfect love?
The perfect love, like he used the word complete, which is mature in God.
A love that is mature, a love that is perfect. And this is a love that has to go through trials to mature up. It has to grow. A lot of people don't want love to grow. They want love to be perfect from the start. But perfect love is a result of opposition. It is a result of trials. It is a result of overcoming those trials. Trials alone does not give you perfect love. But overcoming those trials, overcoming those mental breaks, overcoming loss of jobs, overcoming hatred, overcoming all these things that come up in your life is what gets you to the state of perfect love. And it's not just you overcome and then you just sit there and say, I've done it. No, you must be able to overcome and still remain in that state of love. What does that mean? You know, a certain manager did wrong to you. They blamed you for something that wasn't yours. And you didn't do. You battled through that situation. Even though you lost your job, you've overcome that situation. You've overcome that mindset. You don't blame yourself. You don't blame your manager. You don't blame anybody. You just love. How many of us can do that? That takes great self-control. And so without delay, we're going to jump straight into a game of what to do. Act or react. How? And so this is a game where I ask a series of questions, and in this series of questions, we're going to try and go through and answer and say, how should we act in this situation? How should we handle this situation? And before I go through that, I want to just put it out there. If anybody has any questions about perfect love, I can explain more details about another layer of perfect love. Or does anybody has anything to add about perfect love?
Perfect love is walking like how Jesus walked.
How is that? How is Jesus? How did he walk?
He responded with compassion and understanding what their true value was of everybody.
So what does that look like in a scenario? Would you say...
So like, you know, someone was being rude to me, I'd be like, whoa, you're so much more than that.
Oh, wow. So you're saying your manager is in full anger, blaming you for something you didn't do, and you respond to them, and at that moment, because they're putting pressure on you, right? They want you to cry, they want you to get angry, they want you to yell back, and you're telling me perfect love is maintaining that composure and then responding with whatever line you just said. Then is that the understanding?
So it's like probably it's like a bridge to like talk about what they're made for and that they're more than what's happened to them in their life.
Okay.
That made them to be that certain way, to respond like that.
Yeah. And so if someone is coming and attacking you, how do you think you will handle that situation?
Love them.
How in that moment? Because we got to understand the people listening right now are thinking, I want to love them, but I don't know how to.
You know, not so much to tell them, don't do this, but just ask them, why are you feeling like this? And have them self-reflect and just, you know, and then look for that window or opportunity where you just see a good soil and you can plant that seed into them. Yeah.
You know, this topic is actually very beautiful because it goes into our first question of what to do, act or react how. Because the first question says, I was blamed for something I did not do. How do you manage that situation? You're in the workplace and you're constantly getting blamed for something you did not do. You know clearly well it's not you, but everybody else thinks it's you. How do you act in that situation? How do you stay away from reacting in that situation?
Just to ask what the solution is to that issue that they're having, and whatever it is, just do it. Just look past the blaming and just get to the core of it. Yeah, so just to stop people from reacting and stuff, and displaying love and responsibility, and displaying that you lay your life for your brothers. You lay your life down for your brothers. Yeah. And you take up your cross and deny yourself and just follow what Jesus did, because he got blamed for everything to the point he died for us. Yeah.
What do you think, Suzel? I already say your name on camera, on mic. What do you want? Your name is on the mic, man. Now, what do you think, Jesse? How do you think the way to handle that situation, getting blamed for something you didn't do? How do you go from there? What to do in that situation? How do you manage that situation with self-control?
I feel like going about it the way you're going about it is probably, working out. I guess it'll unfold, as time passes. I guess if you're not the one that's being, you're not the one that's being blamed, the person that actually did it, then I feel like it will reveal itself over time.
Yeah. And it does. In most cases, it does reveal itself. But there's been a lot of people that have ended up in jail for things they've never done. And we can imagine the amount of bitterness, the amount of anger, frustration a lot of these guys would have, because they know that it's not them that caused the error. It's not them that caused the mistake. But they were blamed and jailed for something that was never their fault. So how does one manage their mind in that situation? Because you have every right. You have every right to be angry. You have every right. And you can be angry and nobody will tell you you have no rights in there. But is that really the right thing to do? You enjoyed our content? Thank you. If you want more, follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and our website for more. If you love what we do, support us on Patreon, Subscribestar, Crypto, and all links in the description below. Hey, RCTV, peace out.